Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, Selling Yourself, Develop Your Personal Brand. My name is Stephanie Hurst and I'm the Member Programs Manager for the National Apartment Association. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping points. This presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the webinars page of the NAA website early next week. During the discussion, you may type questions into the chat box on your screen and we will share them with our presenter. And now I will turn it over to Next Gen Committee member Jesse Miller to kick off today's presentation. Jesse?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Stephanie. I am excited to be here. We are excited to be here. And we've got a great session for you planned out. It's called Selling Yourself, Develop Your Personal Brand. So I can't think of anyone better to help us host this. And then we go to the next slide, please. Then Megan Orser, and a little bit about Megan. Her bio is in the description, but she's with Smart Apartment Solutions and Smart Moves, and has been on the Next Gen committee since it was a task force. So even before it was actually a committee. So I've worked alongside her on all sorts of different projects over the years. Even though we're, states away, but because of her personal and professional branding, I'm always seeing her and, interacting with her online and everything. So it'll be great to go over all these different best practices with your own personal and professional branding in that sense as well too. So before we get started, can we go to the next slide? Want to talk a little bit about, this is just an open conversation. If you could, up in the chat, and I believe we've got the chat enabled where you're able to chat within there. Can you confirm, Stephanie, is that the case where people can chat?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So wanted to ask everybody two quick questions before we get rolling here. First question is what do you think of when you think personal branding? And it could be different for many of us. It could be very similar, but looks like we've got about 30 people in. Throw it up in the chat what your opinion is of personal branding and what you think with that. So we'll give it 30 seconds here. So I saw a note, it says my chat is disabled. So maybe what we could do is throw it in the question and answer section.
It'll work.
As a question. So thank you, Nicole, for the heads up on that.
Thank you.
So when you think of personal branding, what comes to mind? Experience, your mission statement. Ooh, I like that one. That's good. Like a personal mission statement. Keegan, thank you. Kelsey, experience, thank you. I agree with you on that. What else? We've got 30 people on. The presence I share on social media. Okay, I agree, that's great. Your reputation. Ooh, that's a good one too. Any others to throw in you could think of? Okay, so why don't we hop over to the next question? If we could bring that one up. So from today's session, and we've kind of alluding to this by just the feedback about personal branding and kind of the different opinions of it. What is important for all of us on this call to learn about today? So what specifically are you hoping to take away from this session that would be helpful for something that you could take and put into action, as soon as today or tomorrow or this week? For it. So it looks like the chat is working now. So let's use the chat. So what would you like to learn more about today? We've got a ton of great information, and we want to focus on the fundamental items, but then also to what's important for people to learn about their own personal and professional branding today. So easy implementations, yes. And I like how you spelled easy. because it's easier to spell it with 2 letters. So
Definitely is.
So Jenny, thank you. What else? Any other things? Checks and balances and goals. That's good. Okay. Actionable tips. Okay. So stuff we can put into force. Keegan, I really like that, checks and balances, because like even when when Megan was creating this session, her and I were going back and forth on checks and balances about this. So that's a really good point. Brainstorm my own personal brand. Okay. So Nicole, you're at a phase where you're starting to create your own personal brand. Good sources of cheap free material. Okay. Love it. I think everybody likes access to not only cheap and free material, but also quality material too, because there's an abundance of information, as we all know, on the web. This is all really good. Anything else anybody could think of? All righty. Okay, cool. So this is good stuff that we can work off of. Thank you very much for the input on it. Let's go to the next slide, and then I'm going to turn it over to you, Megan.
Thank you. And thank you, Jesse, for doing such an awesome job. And thank you guys for playing along with that. Definitely there is a handout that we will share after this session that has some tips on some of the impact speech and elevator pitch that we'll be discussing. So hopefully, Ginny, that will hit the mark. But if it doesn't, you just let us know and we will find something that does. All right, so we're going to talk about 4 things today. We're going to start out with identifying your current personal brand. It exists whether you know it or not. We're going to then move on to what is your current brand saying about you. So we're going to dive into emails, voicemails, and even social media, as some of you mentioned that you wanted to cover that part. 3, we'll talk about getting started and how you can start to get visible and stand out in an authentic way. And then we will wrap up with some tools for success, some tools that I use for my personal branding and for our business that are easy and fun to implement. And I think you will leave surprised going, I never thought about that way. So I don't want to give it away till we get to the end, but we will get there. So we're going to start off with a poll. So I'm going to go through the line items and then I'll launch the poll. So why develop your personal brand? We talked about what you were looking for and what a personal brand maybe meant to you, but let's talk about why you should want to develop your personal brand. Is it because you want to help be promoted in your business or in the field that you're in? Maybe you're looking for a new position or you're looking to move into a different part of our industry and you're wanting to freshen up your opportunities to get hired. Maybe you're wanting to help grow your social proof. So your digital platform, your digital currency on your social media platforms like LinkedIn, like Instagram, like Facebook, even TikTok. Maybe you're doing it for your future self. Maybe you're thinking, I don't know why I'm building it, but I know I'm going to need it in the future. And I know I'm going to probably need to cash in on it in the future. So I'm going to put the work in today. And maybe those are all of above. So let's go ahead and launch that poll and get an idea from you guys. Are you able to see the poll, Jesse?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Oh, there it goes. Yep.
There we go. I was playing with it and I think I took it to a different level than I was supposed to. All right, so some good answers already coming in. Give it a couple more seconds and then we will share the results and see what your peers are thinking. It's really warming my heart to see for my future self. I very much felt that way and still feel that way. And then there's a lot of all of the aboves. All right, we'll go ahead and end this poll and launch it. Share these results a little bit. All right, so it looks like a good portion of you said for your future self. The next highest would be all of the above. And then the third highest is to help grow your social proof. So there you can see them. All right, I skipped a slide, so we'll go back. Oh, goodness gracious heavens. Okay, so a lot of you said for your future self, then a good portion of you said it was going to help grow your social proof as well as all of the above. And I agree. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why people come and want to build their personal brand. They can see the attachment to even their business brand. Maybe if you're like me and you own your own business, or that's something that you're thinking about in the future, even if you're working for a firm right now and your end goal in 10 and 20 years is to own your own firm, you can start working on that personal brand today. And so I do have an image here of Oprah. And when I think of a really good personal brand as far as a celebrity, but even beyond a celebrity, I think of Oprah, and you can see all of the different companies that she works for and the branding that she's done, and really where she was able to bring herself. Funny story about Harpo, that's Oprah spelled backwards. And when she was making the decision if she should go out on her own with her own production company or if she should work for a different production company, she decided that she wanted to do her own production company and be her own boss, but she didn't know what to name it. And so she needed to pick a name, and she just did her name backwards. And Harpo Productions became one of the best production agencies of its time. So kudos to our friend Oprah. All right, so why should you develop your personal brand? Well, as many of you had different reasons, it's developing your personal brand is giving yourself a competitive advantage. People remember you and your brand when they're looking for someone with your particular skills and expertise. In addition, a strong personal brand can lead to new opportunities. So identifying your current personal brand, it exists whether you know it or not. So we'll start with some real basics here. A lot of people don't necessarily know that how they dress and how they put themselves out there to the public is a representation of their personal brand in their professional life as well as even their personal life. So how you dress, how you present yourself is going to be an expression of your personal self. And we as professionals have been able to take some nice liberties, which is nice, and show a little bit of customization and be a little bit more authentic and true to ourselves while still staying within the realm. But then let's think about it if you're on the negative spectrum, let's say, and we're not necessarily dressing the part. You know, we're not ironing, we're wearing yoga pants to the office. We've just let COVID stay around too long in our wardrobe. Well, that is going to be a reflection on your personal brand too, right? It's going to be distracting and people are going to go, what's going on with Megan? Why doesn't she want to wear regular clothes anymore? So think about that. And that also goes on to your attire on chat. Again, we have survived a 2-year pandemic and we have relied heavily on Zoom, even like we are now. But as you've noticed, probably some of our coworkers, some of the people that we've been chatting with, started out really strong in March of 2020. And then by summer of 2020, it was like, I can wear my bathing suit on Zoom. Maybe that hasn't exactly happened, but we've gotten really lax. And so remember that people are still making first impressions and assumptions about you and your personal brand, even based on how you're dressed on a Zoom call. And then also consider using backgrounds. I always have a background on, even though I have, I think, an okay house. It's messy. And so I don't want to show that off, but to me, it's an opportunity to just, again, get my personal brand out there a little bit more. I have a video one going on in the back of me. So if my video was bigger, you'd see the plant leaves move a little bit. I get tons and tons of comments about that when I'm on a meeting or I'm on a call. People will say, hey, you know, where did you get that Zoom background? And then we start that conversation. But you always know that if Megan's going to be on a call, she's going to bring some kind of new background to the game. So don't leave it hanging there. I call that a low-hanging fruit. Okay, so what does your online presence say about you? So is it something good or is it something bad? Is there negative stuff out there? Well, you should know. You should go to Google, maybe not right now, but after this session, and put your name in there and see what comes up online. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it stuff I knew about? Is it stuff I didn't know about? Being in the know is the first part, right? Because if there is something derogatory, you'd want to be aware of it. You don't want to discover it in an interview or in an opportunity that your employer finds it when they're looking at you for a promotion. So know about it. If there's something you can do to get it removed, then do it. If it's something that is true, and maybe it's just something that's from our past, then you should be aware of it and be able to work around it. I mean, we are human, right? People make mistakes, and you're going to at least want to know about it. So if you've at least got to talk around it, what you don't want to do is hide it and have somebody else discover it, and then you've lost some credibility. Also pay attention to your headshots and what they say about you. I see a lot on LinkedIn, which is shocking to me, of people that have taken headshots, professional headshots, and I say professional with air quotes, in their car with their seatbelt on. And I am always very concerned about this person because I'm assuming they're still driving, because if they had stopped and pulled their car over, they would have taken their seatbelt off to take a professional headshot, is what my brain goes. So if you are the person that has the LinkedIn profile headshot with your seatbelt on, I'm talking to you. Let's change that together. Maybe even just pull the car over and stop driving. Take the seatbelt off when you're safe, turn it into portrait mode on your phone, and then take the picture. You won't even see the background. There is no seatbelt. I get it. Not everybody can afford and has the time to go get a professional headshot. You should still aspire to do that. I think they are awesome and have definitely helped in my career. But if this is the best that you can do, for the love of Nancy, let's take the seatbelt off. And also, let's make sure that our headshots are up to date. So are they like the 80s glamour shots? Because that's the last time you had a professional picture taken? Is it your high school senior picture? If it is, then it's time for a new photo. It's time, maybe even just get a friend. You go to Selfie World, you schedule a time, you go get your, hair done if you want to, and then you schedule a whole session with one of your friends and they take some photos. I tell you, it's going to be better than this. And then is your headshot maybe too affiliated, or is your online presentation maybe not even too affiliated, but is it affiliated to any clubs or affiliations? Good or bad, it's just nice to know that. Like, where am I being associated with online? Who am I being tagged with? So give that a check out and let me know how it goes. Okay, so other places where you can be identified in your personal brand, even though you may not know it exists, can be within your own industry, here within the multifamily industry. So the fact of whether that if you're an active member or if you're more of a passive member, people know about that and people do talk about it. I hear it in our association. So-and-so is a very active member. We see them at every event. Oh, I never see this blah, blah, blah at our event. So I wonder what's going on. So people are talking about you whether you're at the event or not. So I would lean more towards the side of being more active so that I can be there having the conversations and putting that good reputation out there. And then also look at your reputation in your local apartment association or group affiliates, as well as your state and even the national, like National Apartment Association. How big have you gone in your personal brand? And how far up the chain do people know about you? And then word of mouth. So when you're not around, what are people saying about you? And what do you think people are saying about you if you're not in the room, specifically your friends? If any of you got to attend the Apartmentalize conference in end of June in San Diego just last month, Bill Rancic was our MC. He has been for a few years now, but he had a great conversation with Rob Lowe. And he made a comment that really just stuck with me. And I wanted to reiterate that to you guys. And he said, show me your friends and I will show you your future. And I have always said for a very long time, you are a reflection of the company that you keep. And I think that is also something that people should consider. The groups that we run with, the people that we hang out with, they might be fun, but are they championing me and us when I'm not in the room? Are they saying my name and saying this person is who I think, should get this opportunity? Or are they cutting you down? Are they focused on big careers or are they focused on not big careers? That doesn't necessarily mean they can't be our friends, but maybe not our close circle, or if we're trying to grow our brand or our personal brand and something's holding us back, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It really stuck with me, so I hope it sticks with you. Okay, so what is your current brand saying about you? So let's talk emails, let's talk voicemails, and let's give the people what they're asking for. Let's talk some social media. Okay, so reviews and comments. So we're digging even a little bit deeper in our online presence. Any comments I've made online, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on any shared groups or anything like that will stick with me for a very long time. But again, people take that as a personal brand too. Are you positive when you're coming and answering questions on multifamily share space, or are you venting all the time? Well, if you're the one that's helping, then people are going to tend to ask you more questions, and we tend to be more attracted to go and communicate and interact with that person. The person that's always asking for help or just wants to vent, you can only do so many. I'm sorry that's happening to you. And you're like, ooh, I just want to be around the happy people. So think about that. Think about those comments. And even if you are upset and you're responding back, what are you saying? Is that going to also affect your personal brand? Yes, especially if they can link that to you or even your business page, it can also affect your business as well. Okay, So turning into social media, you're like, woo, I want to grow on social media. There are many, many classes out there to show you how you can grow on social media. I have a lot of tips and tricks for that. This is not quite the session for that. So I can tell you that you should do it. If you want to talk more about that, let me know, and I can get you some free resources. I've done some free sessions for NAA in the past that I'd be happy to share with you guys if you're wanting to know more about that. But in this session, talking about your social media and that presence, understanding what your social proof is. And social proof is something that is going to be coming up a lot more and a lot more. And as we move into a digital space, even in the hiring and promotions market, this could be something that you're being judged on. So how many followers, how many likes do you have? So I have seen some pretty cool brand people that definitely do more digital platform stuff that actually have their metrics on their personal webpage, which is a new trend that's happening. Or I'm even seeing them put their social metrics maybe on their business cards or any marketing pieces that they're putting out there, letting people know how many followers and metrics they have on their social media channels. So a lot of the times I'll see it on a website and it'll actually be a ticker. So you'll see it changing all the time. They're letting you know that their audience is continually growing because their social proof is growing. The other part that you can consider, is bigger audiences sometimes mean more features. So especially for Instagram and for TikTok, even YouTube, the larger that your channel is, the larger that the like number is, you have access to things like swiping up in your stories or being able to do live like in TikTok. Got a question real quick. Should we grow social media for quantity or quality if I had to pick one? That is such a good question, Jessie. I would totally go for quality instead of quantity. I have been on about a 2-year journey on my Instagram page, and I'll share that with you guys. I have been on Instagram for about 14 years. The last year and a half, 2 years is really when I've started focusing on it as a business. And I have seen all of the tips and tricks. I've tried a lot of the things. And at the end of the day, having an audience of people that you really want to engage with and want to interact with is way better than having 100,000 followers of people that I don't know and probably will never meet. So I say build it over time. When you see those quick for tips like grow your followers by 200,000 people by 2 months, that seems kind of spammy to me. Mine has grown fairly steadily. I would say our business page has probably grown about 1,000 followers a year since we've really started working on it in 2019. And my personal page has grown roughly about 800 followers, maybe to 1,000 each year from that. So it's slow, but it's steady and it's always growing. And that's what I love. And then I focus on the engagement portion of that. So how do you engage? I get that question a lot with social media. I want more engagement. I want more engagement. How do I make people engage? Well, you can't make people engage. They have to want to engage with you. And sometimes I think people look at social media, people look at social media differently than they would look at interacting with people on the street, and it really isn't. You wouldn't just expect people to like and comment and talk to you and give you all these accolades if they didn't even know you or if they hadn't even, offered you a handshake, right? People don't just shake your hand unless you've offered the handshake. Maybe that's saying it better. So you have to be engaging for people to want to engage back with you. So if you want people to like, comment, and share on your social media, then you need to be commenting and sharing on their social media. It's a lot like a two-person interaction. So some quick tips that I will share for you for some quick engagement, especially on Instagram, but this works on most platforms. In the stories function, if you swipe all the way to the right, that is going to be your least active followers that you are interacting with, and start interacting with their stories. And instead of clicking right, click left and just go all the way through the stories. It's going to put you in their direct message. They typically respond to your reaction. And then Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whichever platform is going to say, hey, this person's interacting with this other person. They are close friends. And then they will start seeing your feed. They will start seeing your content more. Essentially, every time I've done this, I've been able to get a good conversation with somebody that I haven't been that engaged with. So that's a quick tip to share with you. But to be engaging, go out and share your digital currency. So those likes, those comments, those shares are just like spending money in a business. It is digital currency that you are spending on that page. little soapboxy. I'm going to get off that soapbox and let's move it along. Okay, so let's talk about our emails. I was trying not to soapbox, but I'm probably going to go again. We work in temporary staffing, but a lot of recruiting. And I have seen so many creative email addresses, but I, for real, had an applicant that applied and their email address was cutiewithabooty@gmail.com. And I really thought, whoa, is that the email address that you want to follow you around in your professional career? Is that the email address that you want to put out to your future employer? Hopefully the answer is no, but maybe it's not, and that's where you're going with it. For me, it wouldn't work, and it did definitely not leave a great first impression for me when I saw it. So I've seen angelbaby@gmail.com. I've seen many, many other ones that I won't repeat on here, but if it is something that you've had maybe from the past, it might be something that you consider updating to something that is a little bit more professional, a little bit more neutral. All right, also pay attention to grammar, spelling, and spaces. This has gotten, again, a little bit more lax as we've moved to more digital devices, cell phones, where we're answering a lot of our emails there, even through text message. But that's not an excuse to not spell correctly or to just be like, pardon my grammar, I'm on a phone. You should still try, and there are some tools to help you. So some quick, easy, free tools. You can add Grammarly right to your desktop, but it even has a keyboard that you can add right to your cell phone. So that's free. So you can actually have it help you with when you're typing your quick messages on the go. And then pay attention to your signature block in your email. I have a video here showing of a GIF signature block, which I think is pretty cool because there's movement, so it catches their eye. But this is a good opportunity for marketing. You could have links to a link tree, which has multiple links to different things, free downloads or your headshot or whatever you're trying to give to people. You could put that in your email block as well. But make sure that it's inviting, make sure it's something that people want to interact with, and if it can catch their attention, even better. Okay. So moving on to voicemails and your phone presence. So when you're answering the phone, when you are talking to people and interacting over the phone, are they interacting with Eeyore and someone that sounds like they want to get off the phone because it's so depressing? Or are they interacting with someone with as much enthusiasm as a Spartan cheerleader? Now, maybe the Spartan cheerleader is just too much for you, but I'm just saying don't go on the spectrum to Eeyore. People don't want to talk to Eeyore on the phone because he makes you sleepy. He makes you sad. So he's a very adorable character, but he's not somebody that you want to take initiatives and drive them home. A Spartan cheerleader, or at least from SNL, the Spartan cheerleader persona, is they were ready to go. They had a lot of enthusiasm, maybe a little bit too much at time, but they were always ready to go, and people wanted to interact with an enthusiastic person. There's a great tool out there. It's called linkedphone.com. Has over 13 professional voicemail greetings and scripts. So if you want to just take a deeper dive and maybe copy and paste one that helps you out a little bit as you're building your own personal brand and what feels good for you, then there's a great example that you can check out there as well. Okay, so our next slide, we're going to actually open back up into the chat. And this is a little exercise that I would like you to do. The first one I wanted you to do is write 5, even if you can give me 2 or 3, descriptions of how you think you are perceived now by others. And then I want you to write 5 relevant descriptions of how you want to be perceived in 10 years. So even if you don't do all 5 on each side, a couple. What do you think people think of you now? And how do you want people to perceive you in the next 10 years? Give you a minute or so. We've got time, it looks like, to do that. You guys are really thinking on it, I know. Well, maybe you guys are nervous. I don't know. All right, well, I'll share some. Maybe this will help you guys out. And if you don't, in the chat, I can't force you, right? I can't. But maybe you can take something from what we said. So maybe an example of what people might perceive of me now is that hopefully they would say that I'm dedicated and that I show up and I will always participate. In the future, though, I would like to see more, I would like to be perceived more as someone who is more of a leader, not necessarily a follower, first over the fence kind of person, would be some of the descriptor words I would use. Jesse, do you have any that you could share for your personal self?
Yeah, I was just trying to think of some. So I think, and it's funny because we were just talking about Myers-Briggs and preferred personality types and stuff. But I've heard, because I always like to hear the constructive areas and the not so fun areas. But I've heard people who have perceived me as sometimes brash or cut and dry, or kind of black and white, sometimes lacking emotions as well too. So that's all. And my Myers-Briggs is the ESTJ, right? So like learning about that and how people can perceive that, based upon that, resonated well, because then it's like, okay, what are the things that I could do differently? So in the future, I think I rather than, kind of the black and white, or the brash, or, lacking emotions in certain ways, I think those are areas that I want to work towards, in growing and becoming better at, for it. So whether it's just, ability to connect with people in all sorts of different situations, or being a better listener, or getting a better understanding of, people's feelings and, things like that, not looking at things like black and white policy, right? Looking at, some of the gray area and stuff, I think would also be good. So those are some of the things that just come to mind when I was working on this exercise.
Great. Well, that was great. So what I took away from what Jesse shared is he's working on the perceived Jesse to be more of a softer side, right? Is what I took from that. Awesome. Well, we did have some people that shared. Jamie, thank you so much. She said accountable, adventurous, successful, and reliable. Yes, those would be wonderful descriptive words to have people remember you by. And Tracy said for right now, she would like people to explain or describe her as enthusiastic, reliable, committed, approachable, and easy to work with. I agree. Those would be awesome things for people to say about me as well. So thank you guys for sharing. I really appreciate that. For those that didn't, that's okay, but still do the exercise for yourself. Oh, looks like we maybe got some more. Someone submitted in the Q&A. Thank you. Anonymous attendee says now they may say anxious, helpful, clever, organized, quirky, adventurous. For their future self, they would want to be perceived as funny, responsible, wise, motivating, and inspiring. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, and Keegan said involved, active, and compassionate for the top two. I love that, Keegan. Yes, compassionate and active, involved. Yes. Yeah, you're not what we call like a drive-by participant, right? You're there for the whole thing. You're not just giving ideas and taking off. You're there to do the tasks, and we love that. Some good enthusiasm that will definitely pay off for getting visible, which is our next part of this session. So getting started, how to get visible and stand out in an authentic way. I tried very hard to find Olivia Newton-John's version of Let's Get Physical, but in the Let's Get Visible, I'm going to save you and not sing it to you. For those that may be too young to even know what that is, you should definitely Google it for after this and get a good laugh. So getting started and how to get visible and stand out in an authentic way. Well, a great way to do that is to get your face on camera. Video is king. We've been saying that for a long time as marketing professionals. So video is where it's at, but getting yourself on video is even where it's at. That's really where people want to see and connect with you. And again, with the pandemic that we went through, it's been more difficult to connect with people because we've had to do it digitally. So getting your face on camera as opposed to just being from behind the camera and talking, it helps people connect with you a little bit better. I'm going to show you to the right after I'm done a hands-free, so how you can actually do the hands-free function in Instagram when you're doing a story, so if you want to get your face on camera. But I also wanted to talk to you about filters. I am a big fan of filters. I think filters are a wonderful thing, especially when maybe my makeup isn't as fresh, it's kind of been a rougher day, and maybe I look like here the scary doll on the right-hand side. And the filter helps me look like the doll on the left-hand side, you know, just more fresh-faced, ready to go. I would say filters that make you look like a real person, real-ish person, just with a freshen up of makeup and helps with some of the photography things that we're wanting. Where I think filters are bad is when people take them too far. It's fun to do the baby filter. It's fun to do the old age filter, but these are things that we shouldn't be seeing as your professional headshot on LinkedIn. This is stuff that I shouldn't be getting when I'm asking for your professional headshot to be on a panel. And I'm saying this, and I have to say it because it has happened to me. I have had people share these very filtered photos that don't even look recognizable to the person, and it's just way too much. So be authentic. Don't be afraid of how you look in yourself. If you want to do a light filter to help just a little bit, then I understand that, but don't go too far. Don't, save it for the fun times. Don't save it for the professional times. So here on the right-hand side, I'm going to show you how I open up stories and then how you can use the hands-free function. Before I do that, some people have asked, well, why would I want to use hands-free? Well, if you have created a stories before in Instagram or in many platforms, you actually have to hold the record button down, and that's how it records a story while you're talking and interacting. So it can be distracting, it can be hard, it can cause some frustration. With the hands-free function, you actually can be what it says, hands-free. The cool part is your camera on your phone will actually follow you if you were to move around and you were doing a story on the hands-free function. So let's watch it and see how you do it. So you open it up, you can select a filter. I would select hands-free, and then you just hit the round button in the middle, and then you can record your story. So I'm going to pause it here so you can see. You just push this arrow that's in the down, and then you can just select hands-free. There's also a bunch of other features that you can do here in the Instagram platform as well. Very similar to TikTok if you're doing a TikTok story, Facebook stories, as well as even LinkedIn with their stories. So check out the hands-free function and give that a whirl. Looks like we have a chat. Where do you find good filters? That is a great question, Jenny. So I go right through Instagram, and then there is, if you swipe to the right of your filters, there will be like a little magnifying glass. It's orange on like a white background. You can click on that, and that will take you to the marketplace of filters and stickers. Then you can actually save them. There's a little like bookmark button at the top of the filter. If you click that, that will save it, and then it will start to come up in your roll here as you're selecting, and you can go from left and right, from side to side, and pick those filters. It works similar way in TikTok as well. I know Facebook has some filters. I'm not sure if LinkedIn has filters, but again, they probably have a searching function. But Instagram especially, just look for that little magnifying glass. Just keep swiping to the right, and you'll find it. Hope that helps. If it doesn't, let me know. Okay. So going live, so this is even a little bit more of a stretch goal. We're going to talk in a little bit about getting really uncomfortable, and going live on social media, I think, makes people very stressed out. So it's definitely a good way to push yourself to get uncomfortable. And I'll be honest with you, my first couple of lives, probably not that great. They were clunky. I had to figure it out. But now that we've been doing them more often, they have definitely got a lot easier. So I started doing some lives for our company where I do them every Friday. I do them for our staffer awards. Essentially, our staffers get their name entered into a drawing each week. I do the drawing on a name wheel live on Instagram. And then I share that through our social media. One of my most favorite things that I learned, though, was creating an Instagram live slide. And that's what you see here, the two images here. I actually created those through Canva. So if you don't know Canva, you're not living life right. They have templates for Instagram stories that you can create. It works perfectly for your Instagram live slide. I added a little icon here to the upper right. That's actually where, when you share a slide, your little camera of your face will go. And then you can kind of show the slide. So I do that every single week when I'm going through my Smart Staffer Awards and the rules of how people can get involved. Some other cool things, which I'm going to demo for you too, is scheduling. So you can actually schedule a live. And so then it will actually put a little calendar reminder in the post that you're sharing. So every single time that you share that live post, it will give people the opportunity to set a reminder through their Instagram. And so when you do go live, they get a push notification and they're aware. So that's a great tip there as well. And you can also do practice live sessions. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. Collaborations are a good idea also for live. So if you're really nervous to get on a live by yourself, do a live with somebody else and it does a split screen. You can have, I believe, up to 4 people on live, and then you can just have a conversation and people can chime in the chat. If you've decided then you are going to go all in on live and you're like, live is, the mecca for me, Megan, I want it, give it all to me, then maybe you consider StreamYard, because StreamYard is a platform that you can actually stream to all live platforms simultaneously. So you could stream to Instagram, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, TikTok. If you had over 1,000 followers, you could stream all of them through StreamYard on one device. So there's other things you can do with StreamYard. You can add your logo over it so you can do more personal branding. You can add background music. You can do a bunch of things with StreamYard. So give live a try. And if it's something for you, then maybe consider something like StreamYard. All right, so let's watch this video of how I create a live. So I will hit the little plus button up at the top. I will hit live. Then I can go here into the schedule. Oh, I'm picking a filter. So pick a filter. I can schedule it then. So you put the title of the live video that you're going to be doing. You'll pick the date. Once you do that, you'll hit done, and then it will give you the capability to share this now or share it later, but then you can share it with your Instagram feed. You can share it on your Instagram stories. And every single time you share this one post, it's going to share that banner where people can add themselves to the reminder and actually get noticed about that. So I'm going to go back a little bit. And so now let's try doing a live practice. So if you go here to the audience, you can actually pick between public and private, set audience, and then you'll hit the round big button, and then that's going to have a live practice session. So if you want to practice live, you want to practice all the functions, practice the slides, which I'm going to show you in just a second, then do that through your practice live. Don't do it through a regular live if you want to get more comfortable. So after, let's say if I'm in a practice session, if I go to, once I go live, up here on the right-hand side, you'll see the picture icon. If I select that, then that's where I can go access my Instagram live slides. I save mine right to a folder, and there you go. You select that, you hit it again, you can choose a different one, or you can stop sharing, and then it goes back to the full screen. So hopefully I didn't go too fast on that. I hope that helps you, but it was a great tool for me for helping me go live. So if you're considering, doing a live presentation maybe, and actually presenting some slides, you can create slides and still do a presentation through your live function. I've seen some great suppliers out there that have done some great lives. Apartments.com brought in a dog specialist, dog trainer that was there Friday at 5 for an hour, and they just answered questions that the audience answered. So that was a collaboration that they did, which helped grow their personal and professional brand. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to check the chat. Will a replay be available? Yes, Kelsey. So this is a recorded session, and Stephanie and NAA will definitely get you hooked up with the link so that you can watch that till your heart's content, as well as our contact information. So if you want to have more questions about that, I'm happy to help you guys as well. And for the person that said you would never figure that out, I challenge you to try. and we will get it figured out. I bet you can do it. I bet you can do it. Jenny, you said you never would have figured that out. I need to get glasses also, apparently. That is not helping my personal brand. Get glasses, Megan. So you would have figured it out. I have faith in you, Jenny, but I'm glad I could help you and show you where it's at. Okay. So another awesome way to get really visible is to get on a live audio platform. So consider live audio only like Clubhouse, like even NAA's Clubhouse, which is a nice cool feed that's coming out. Green Room, things like that. It's live audio, it's not video. And people just have conversations in rooms. When I started getting involved in Clubhouse, it was about 2 years ago, maybe now. I didn't know necessarily the value. I just started jumping in rooms and I got so much valuable content. I have learned so much and so much as far as education, personal growth, social media. But I love that I can just kind of go as I am. I can wake up and be a mess and I can be on Clubhouse. That is not the same on IG Live. When you're on Instagram Live, you have to get all dolled up and you want the filter. You don't have to worry about that in Clubhouse. I also noticed when I got involved on Clubhouse, because it links to your Twitter account or your Instagram account, I got a lot of followers because people are interacting with you on these audio only apps, and then they're following and connecting with you on social media. Okay, so show up and show out. A great way to get visible is to put yourself out there. Sign up for those networking events, push yourself and get in that room. And then think about those first impressions and how you want to be perceived. Are you going to go out in Peacock, which I have the definition here, that's displaying oneself ostentatiously, so putting yourself out there in a bold way, or maybe you're feeling like you're more of a wallflower. You'll go to social events, but you just hang at the wall and you don't really interact with each other. If you are a wallflower, then it's going to be difficult, but push yourself to Peacock a little bit. Get a little bold. Give it a try. Set yourself some goals. When I was getting started with my networking, I would set a goal. I'm going to talk to 3 people and hand out 3 business cards, and then I can have some hors d'oeuvres, or then I can have my first drink, or then I can leave if I'm so stressed out. I gave myself those little goals, and before I knew it, I was talking to everybody in the room. All right. Nothing wrong with being a wallflower. There isn't, Jesse, except when you're trying to get more visible. And wallflowers, it's hard to get visible because what you're trying to do is blend in with the wallpaper. And so this one time when you're trying to step out there a little bit, push yourself to be just a little bit more ostentatious. Right. I don't want to run out of time, so I'm going to keep it going. I want to share one of my most favorite stories about being consistent, and it has to do with Oprah and Paul Brunson. So if you don't know Paul Brunson, he is pictured here on the right-hand side with the pink hearts. And Paul Brunson is a serial entrepreneur. And at one point in his life, he said, you know what? I love putting people together. I'm really good at matchmaking. I'm going to become a professional matchmaker. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to figure it out. So he went to school, took all these psychology classes, and he said, for 1 year, I'm going to take on 10 clients for no charge. And they're going to give me all this feedback, and I'm going to apply all of these methods that I believe are going to work, and we'll have this project. So he took on his 10 clients, he worked the year with them, and at the end, he's like, I'm going to film a video series on YouTube, and I'm going to invest a lot of money in this videographer. Like, I want it to be awesome. I'm putting all my eggs in my basket for my YouTube channel for these, I believe, 30 episodes on matchmaking. And so he started creating them. He started putting them out on YouTube. He'd go back every week and look at YouTube and see that he would have 7 views. And he's like, I'm pretty sure those are all my mom's, but I'm going to keep posting these videos anyways. And he kept posting and he kept posting. What he didn't know is that one of the free clients that he had taken on in that first initial year happened to be one of the many assistants for Oprah. And this assistant was on the jet with Oprah, and Oprah was talking about how she wanted to start a matchmaking show. And their assistant said, I know an awesome person that you should consider. You should consider Paul. And she said, well, I don't know anything about this Paul. They discovered the YouTube channel, and Oprah said, he's only put a few videos out there. He doesn't have very many views. I'm going to subscribe to his channel. I'm going to watch and see if he keeps being consistent and showing up. So this was like video 3. She waited until about video 12, and then she contacted him. You never know who those 7 views could be and who is watching you and who is judging you or who is planning your future. It literally could be Oprah. So let's leave you with that. 90% of the success is showing up. That's one of my favorite quotes from Woody Allen. Be consistent, be showing up every single time. So when you're working on your bios, when you're working on your impact speech, when you're working on the elevator pitch, remember, this is a work in progress. You can work a little at it every day. It is something that I had to set aside and say, this will never be perfect because it's always something that I'm working on. The bio that I wrote today is probably not the bio that you will see at the end of the year. I'm always tweaking, I'm always trying to work on it. In the handout that we've included for you today, we actually have several examples of what an impact speech is. I've even shared mine, as well as what an elevator pitch is. For me, I believe an elevator pitch is a little bit longer. It's something that you might send in an email when you're trying to prospect or let people know generally about your business or your brand. Where an impact speech is something that you actually get to talk to people, or maybe you put in your short bio, that's where you literally have 10 seconds or less of their attention. So you can look at the differences between that. There's some good examples that you can give a try. Another thing I would encourage you to work on is your bio and getting that to 75 words or less. Most panels that you'll be asked to speak on, or I would encourage you to try to submit to speak on for RFPs. We've got Apartmentalize that is coming up next year. They're going to be taking bids on those sessions very soon. They're all going to require a 75 word or less bio. So just do yourself the favor and start working on that now. And then look at your social media bios. They're very, very short. They have to be very, very succinct. I would recommend putting some emojis in there. Emojis are searchable on our social media networks as of about last year. And they're a great way to break up some text in short, but also give some character and some flair. So check out mine if you want to give it a check on all of my social media platforms, even LinkedIn. You will see them filled with emojis and how I'm using them. I'm going to get to this chat real quick. Oh, true. Okay. All right. So stretch goals. Get yourself uncomfortable. Like this picture says, if I feel uncomfortable, I must be doing something right. Jesse shared a great quote that we couldn't find the author for, so we'll leave it as a Jesse quote. He said, everything we do is for comfort or for growth, and that is so true. So a great way to push yourself in growth is to work on your credentialing. We know here at NAA, they have a ton of great credentialing courses that we can level up here in our career. So if we've got our CALP, let's see if we can get that CAM, or let's see if we can push to get that, CAPS is in my future. I want to see how I can get there. All right. So some tools as we wrap really quick, because I want to leave this with you. Clips is a free app that I used on iOS, but you can also get it on Android. It's free. It has green screen functions. You can do text dictation. You can even change the captions into other languages. You can put stickers on there. It's awesome. So give Clips a try. If you are uploading your videos to social media, you want to make sure that you're uploading them natively. And what native means is you don't want to share a YouTube link to Facebook, etc. You want to take that actual video file and upload it to the platforms. So I see this a lot where people are sharing their TikTok videos on their Instagram pages. Please stop doing this. Please go to your TikTok video, copy the link in your already posted TikTok video, paste it in something like SnapTik, and then it will remove the TikTok watermark and logo and metadata, save that to your camera roll, and then upload that into your social media platforms as a native video. The platforms will be a lot more friendly to you. So SnapTik is a free one, and then also consider Giphy. I think Giphy is probably one of the most underrated tools in our lifetime. And here's why. I started creating Giphies back in 2020 for our Property Management Apartment Association of Michigan website to show our members how to add backgrounds in Zoom. Zoom was new at that time. So I created some GIFs and videos to allow me to do that. I then decided that I wanted to take it a little bit further, and I met this amazing Giphy sticker artist who talked me into creating all of these social media stickers, which you can find on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, when you search stickers. We uploaded over 65 stickers. I think I paid under $100 to her. Today, I have over 8.2 million views on our stickers. I have had family and friends and clients send me screenshots of other people that have used the stickers in their stories. It's been a great icebreaker and start in talking with people that don't know me that well, but maybe, you know, they've seen me out there and they want to get to know a little bit more about our brand. So if you ever want to consider creating GIFs, you can do them yourself, or you can hire a sticker artist like Izzy, and I'd be happy to share her contact as well. So to wrap up, and don't go yet, because we have some important information from Stephanie that she's going to update you on, but I wanted to ask, hopefully you guys gained something from today's discussion. If you didn't, please get with me and I will make sure that you get educated in one way or another. If you want to put in the chat real quick, what action item do you think you could initiate right away? I'd love to hear from you. And then we also have critiques that will be going out. We would love your feedback on this session and all of the future sessions that we have with the Next Gen Committee, because we really appreciate you guys showing up and participating in this. And without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Miss Stephanie, and she can go ahead and give you an update.
Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you to you and Jesse. So many amazing tips for today. So as Megan mentioned, I just have a couple of NAA updates to cover. It is day 2 of RPM Careers Week, so you do still have time to get involved. We've got a theme every day this week, so check out this link to figure out how you can participate. Next slide. And we are currently calling for applications for 2 DE&I opportunities, the Alex Jackie Scholarship and the Innovation and Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Grant. The deadline to apply for both of these programs is July 29th, so get in those applications. And next slide. This Thursday at 2 p.m., we have another webinar, Unconventional Trailblazers, Creating Leadership Pathways. This is going to be a great session. We've got some amazing speakers, so if your schedule allows, register using this link here. And those are all of my updates. Oh, you're muted, Megan.
Thank you. Well, thanks everybody for joining in, and Jesse and Stephanie for helping out today. If you have any interest in the Next Gen Committee, let us know. There's our contact information on the screen. You can connect, and we will send out the handout, I believe, this week.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.